Okay, so we're back with more of Boracity Magazine's videos, and I really like her videos actually. They're very informative, and I get to learn more not just about BTS, but a lot of other information as well, like the industry. And I'm going to be watching how the BTS Army changed fandom culture today. So I'm excited. Let me just get on to it.
Every couple of months, I see a discussion of which fandom is the best fandom. And every single time, fandoms would name a crazy thing they did as one of the most legendary things that happened in pop culture. And these
I've never heard anyone say which fandom is the best fandom. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, I've never heard which fans are the best. Actually, maybe I have. Huh. Maybe I have. You might be right about that.
almost always related to some kind of invasion of privacy. For example, Affinity magazine made a list of the One Direction fandom's most legendary moments, and all of the examples are interesting. But this is the fandom's #1 moment. One Directioners hacked into airport and hotel security cameras just to watch the members of One Direction, and the fandom agrees that these are their most legendary moments.
Am I gonna like this? I don't know if I'm gonna like this because this is like obsessive. This is an invasion of privacy, and I don't support stuff like this. Like, I don't.
Are a hashtag Throwback Thursday. These are moments they are proud of. This is proof they invented fandom. It's moments like this that made them the most iconic fandom. And every time I see some kind of debate or discussion about which is the best fandom, it's usually a competition of which is the craziest fandom.
I guess
think
so.
It's because fandoms usually have the idea that the crazier the fandom acts, the bigger the fandom will be perceived. These type of fandoms are known to not only be extremely big, but also so crazy that they are considered some type of disease. It was the Beatle mania, the Justin Bieber fever, the One Direction infection. And as you can see, this negative image that media and the general public puts on big fandoms ends up convincing them to own their bad reputation, to even be proud of it. That was until the BTS fandom became the biggest fandom.
It's safe to say that ARMY are the most powerful fandom in the world. And the thing that brings them together? Their complete devotion to 7 men from South Korea and their unique message.
There's this common perception that the BTS Army and K-pop fandoms in general are extremely toxic.
I've heard that, yeah.
I have with this idea is that BTS's fandom is being combined with a bunch of other fandoms that are not related to BTS. They are actually known to team up to compete against BTS's fandom. In reality, and generally speaking, ARMY reflects compete with fandoms that are not related. Idea is that BTS's fandom is being combined with a bunch of other fandoms that are not related to BTS. They are actually known to team up to compete against BTS's fandom. In reality, and generally speaking, ARMY reflects BTS's message, a message that K-pop groups, pop artists, and their fandoms lack. Of course, artists don't have to have a message, but BTS was socially conscious since their debut, leaving a clear impression on their fans and creating some kind of fandom etiquette. This fandom etiquette did not come as a list of rules that ARMY must follow. It was simply a consequence of the fandom understanding the message of BTS's music and their actions as people. Of course, I'm not saying that every single BTS fan is not toxic. There have been concerning invasion of privacy cases involving BTS. The difference is that this is not something the fandom celebrates. It's actually condemned and the exception to the rule. Actually, these toxic moments are talked about.
I don't know. I get their point that they're saying that, like, there was like a tweet that says that the top 10 One Direction fandom moments were like these toxic invasion of privacy obsessive moments, and I don't F with that at all. I guess I can't speak. I don't know. I don't know. I don't really know too much about this to say that the whole fandom like likes that stuff or like loves a crazy moment. But I guess it's true.
And call out within the fandom so much that it may feel like they happen all the time. But compared to other fandoms who encourage it and are proud of it, the BTS Army proves that they, maybe involuntarily, created a shift in fandom culture. Army is probably the first big fandom who doesn't want to be recognized as a mania or a fever or an infection, but just a group of people who not only practices respect, but also actually does productive things for BTS, each other.
I get that.
There's obviously going to be some toxic ones who don't represent the majority.
I mean,
but
yeah.
in the case of ARMY,
it's true. I mean, the BTS Army is bigger than any other fandom, so of course there's going to be people. Like, the bigger things get, the more variables you're gonna get.
The toxic side is microscopic compared to the majority non-toxic side.
Okay.
Just think about it. The BTS Army is bigger than every K-pop fandom combined.
I think it's bigger than any.
YouTube channel has 74 million subscribers. Their Instagram has 72 million followers. Their 2 Twitter accounts have around 50 million followers each. And their recent TikTok account has around 60 million followers. You can argue that not all of these people are going to be Army. Some can be casual listeners or curious people from the general public. Maybe you only want to count the 15 million fans dedicated enough to pay for the official BTS Army annual membership. Of course, this excludes a lot of dedicated armies who are not able to pay for the membership or that won't get the benefits because of their location or other factors. But still, if you only want to count these 15 million fans paying for the membership, you won't see 15 million toxic BTS fans. That would be insanity. But even if, let's say, you come across 1,000 very toxic fans who are extremely loud, there would still be less than 0.01% of the fandom with the membership. But there are millions of others who are not. So the percentage is even less than that. My point is that the overwhelming majority of armies represent a fandom that pop culture has never seen before.
I get that, but a lot of times it's just kind of how life is. Like the negative tends to have a bigger presence than the positive, which is unfortunate, but that's just how like life is.
Message, the BTS Army not only rejects the stereotype of a crazy historical fandom, but also proves with actions that they are different. Here are only some of the examples that show how the BTS Army changed fandom culture.
I love that.
This is an unspoken rule about being an army.
I'm not gonna lie, I saw on TikTok, like I know this is what they're trying to say, that not like the true army or people don't want to invade their privacy, but I literally saw a TikTok yesterday of like somebody filming in Jungkook's house. I don't know what I saw, but it was like his girlfriend and something like that, and then there was, I don't know what I saw, but I thought it was crazy that they were filming him. But yeah.
Personal lives are. This is
but
an
I saw it
unspoken
yesterday.
rule about being an army. Their personal lives are not of our concern. This is way more common with small or medium fandoms, but the very big fandoms that ruled pop culture, especially during the internet era, treated artists' personal information as facts every fan should know. I remember that back then, to call yourself a real fan of any mainstream artist, you will have to know everything about their personal lives. There were guides.
Oh my gosh, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you. I remember going on YouTube and like looking up like top 10 facts about One Direction. Facts about One Direction. Yeah. I don't know about this. I don't know anything about this. And I was pretty big into it.
To know their parents and siblings' names, information, and other kind of details of the artist's personal lives.
I don't know anything about this.
It was a thing that would come up on the popular "Are You a Real Fan?" quizzes. But in general, BTS's fandom doesn't really care and even condemns fans digging up their personal information. The only personal information we celebrate is their birthdays, but that's it. Most armies don't know and don't care to know about the members' family members and their lives. If anything, armies are more likely to say that real armies need to know BTS's music and legendary key points of their story in the music industry. But ask the most army of armies how many siblings a certain member has, and you won't get an answer from them. Ask what are the names of the members' parents to an army, and they will tell you that that's not public information. This is because the BTS members always protected the privacy of their non-famous friends and family members. So it's an unspoken rule that army doesn't need to know about these details of their personal lives. You may think it's obvious to not care about these details. You may think it's obvious to prioritize the music over other things, but in the world of crazy big fandoms, ARMY normalized this big shift.
Another fan-led initiative was also outside Citi Field, handing out purple ribbon wristbands. They serve as reminders to concertgoers to be respectful to their fellow armies.
One of the most uncontrollable moments for ARMY is when some fans, the paparazzi, and the general public go see BTS at airports or their private schedules. I still believe that by the size of the
What's going on?
fandom, it can be even worse and more dangerous than what it already is. But then by the size of the public, go see BTS at airports or their private schedules. I still believe that by the size of the fandom, it can be even worse and more dangerous than what it already is. But there have been moments that really show how ARMY changed a part of fandom culture involving privacy and the artist's safety. For example, when BTS started getting massive worldwide popularity, it became extremely difficult for the BTS members to walk through airports, even with tons of security guards. So ARMY organized the Purple Ribbon Project, in which armies in the front row form a barrier with purple ribbons to prevent BTS, other fans, and the airport staff from getting mobbed.
They got those purple ribbons for the security. So like they, put all the way around us through in the airport and outside the airport and keep the security for us. Like they did it themselves.
This helped a lot with the chaos in 2018. But as the years passed, BTS became bigger and bigger.
It's like when they got to LAX, it was like the Beatles were here. I mean, your fans, it's really incredible.
So ARMY's mentality had to and did change. Now, ARMYs encourage others to simply not go to the airport or any other locations where BTS has private schedules. For example, in South Korea, every man has to serve in the military for 18 months. So whenever a famous singer or actor has their military entrance ceremony, fans will go see them, even if the celebrities ask them not to. However, during Jin's military entrance ceremony, he asked fans in an announcement to not visit him at his military entrance ceremony for his safety and the safety of other soldiers. So armies listened and didn't go visit him. This is surprising because it's not only common but expected for fans to go to celebrities' military ceremonies. Of course, the paparazzi they didn't listen to Jin's announcement and went anyway, but they were surprised to go to the ceremony and not find the avalanche of fans they were expecting. And you can tell that the paparazzi were shocked from seeing a group of fans for the first time actually listening to the celebrities' wishes.
오지 말라고 했으니까 그래서 팬들이 질서 잘 지켜요. 공항에서도.
Oh, I love that so much. That's
Again,
really
this
sick.
idea of not going to the airport or other public places where BTS has private schedules may sound obvious and common decency, but before ARMY started encouraging this, other big fandoms saw this type of mobbing as something to brag about. And if some fans told other fans
I've never
ever
participated in any of that or never wanted to. It's just too much. I don't know. Even paparazzi invading, it's too much.
Artists at the airport, there would be a big entitled reaction. But now, the majority of armies encourage others to give BTS their space. And
I feel like there's a big thing about celebrity culture which I don't agree with, but a lot of people I've seen, like, just not even people with big fandoms, but like people like Kylie Jenner, for example. I remember she was saying that she wishes she had like she never really got to experience a normal life. I don't remember exactly what she said, but then all the comments were like, oh, but like you're rich and famous, and I feel like there's a lot of entitlement that because people are famous that they don't deserve privacy, or they don't deserve like human decency, and I've never ever agreed with it. It's hard to have that. I would never want them. I don't know, man. So I really love this, but I feel like a lot of people disagree. I mean, I don't know. I just see it based off like comments I'm reading off TikToks, as if that's the majority of people, but I think there's a lot of entitlement in fandom culture.
Armies encourage others to give BTS their space.
Or
and there
people.
have been multiple occasions of ARMY accidentally finding the BTS members in different parts of the world and not saying anything until the BTS members are back in South Korea or post their travel pictures themselves. In return, BTS thanks every time armies have pretended to not know them in public and have kept their location a secret.
That's amazing. They get to enjoy their life.
The BTS Army is probably the most self-organized fandom. There were times when concert venues were simply not ready for the magnitude of a BTS concert. Here are only two recent examples. When BTS performed at SoFi Stadium in LA in 2021, the organization from the staff was so bad that armies were still outside of the venue after the concert had already started. The fans had to do their own crowd control, despite asking the venue multiple times to increase safety measures. But the venue still had this bad organization for other future events where people got badly injured, making many believe that the reason why there were no serious injuries or accidents during the 4 BTS concerts was because of ARMY's self-organization. These 4 concerts were attended by 70,000 armies in each day. BTS also had a one-day free concert in the city of Busan in South Korea in 2022. This concert was organized by the city, which received multiple complaints for their lack of organization and preparation for a free BTS concert. The only reason why the event was not a complete mess was because of BTS paying out of pocket for more safety measures.
아시아드 구경기장이나 부산 국제 락 페스티벌이 열리는 흠락 생태공원 등을 검토했지만 10만 명을 수용하려면 이곳이 가장 적절하다고 판단했습니다.
And ARMY being respectful to one another. BTS and ARMY's efforts for safety were recognized only after other massive festivity in South Korea was poorly organized by their city, only weeks after BTS's concert, leaving one of the biggest tragedies in the country. This type of lack of safety measures can be catastrophic. We saw them happening time and time again.
I was thinking about
the public's full responsibility. But sadly, every time the venues are not prepared for a BTS concert, armies take it upon themselves to organize themselves and avoid tragedies. And you can see the fandom's mentality as a whole in the little details too. If you've been to any concert or sport event, you've probably noticed how common it is for the place to become a mess as the event ends. But at the majority of BTS concerts, you will find armies wearing masks out of respect for each other, even if it's not mandatory, using the fandom's light sticks to organize the after-concert traffic, and even leaving the trash organized. This kind of small forms of organization prove that the mentality of the great majority of armies is
that kind of got me a little emotional to see that.
BTS, but also to each other.
What are they giving?
Army's
That's so
respect
cute.
for BTS and ARMY goes beyond the concern of privacy and safety. Armies are generous to each other. Small acts of generosity include armies giving each other freebies at concerts. These are hundreds of small gifts armies prepare for other armies for free.
Wait, this is so cute!
BTS photo cards, stickers, accessories, snacks, bottles of water, and masks. It's not a BTS concert without this type of gifts. But these are personal acts of generosity by each army. When armies form a fan-based association, they can do bigger projects like the Purple Ribbon Project. Different fan bases help armies understand different streaming platforms, music charts, BTS's history and discography. There are also organizations created by ARMY professionals that help guide and inform fans in anything related to created by ARMY professionals.
Wait, what? Wait, what is it saying? Words like per meal or per day can make a significant difference to your patient's care. Too much carbs or sodium may alter your patient's recovery. Using the word gauze, wrong gauze may prolong the patient's wound healing process or even worse. What are we? Wait, what are we talking about? What does this have to do with BTS? They're just helping. This is how we're spreading information? That's really interesting. I mean, if it helps, it helps. Wow, I'm just surprised.
History and discography.
It doesn't really have to do.
There are also organizations created by ARMY professionals that help guide and inform fans in anything related to medicine, law, engineering, and computer science.
What?
There are associations of ARMY tutors of courses like science, languages, math, social science, computer science, and art. All of these completely for free. There are also ARMY social media accounts that buy BTS's paid content and stream it for free or share download files so every single army can watch it, even if they cannot pay for it. This may sound like it's not beneficial to the armies paying for the content or to BTS, but there are still millions of fans buying the paid content and happy to see every army being able to access the paid content. And again, this collective generosity is simply a reflection of BTS's message and actions. There were times when BTS themselves watched unofficial streams on camera and even told armies watching unofficial unofficial streams that it was okay to do so. And this generosity by ARMYs is not performative. It's part of the core of the fandom. Look at what happened in a hidden camera experiment. Someone left an unattended BTS merch table at a K-pop flea market, and instead of ARMYs stealing the merch, they ended up paying more than the expected revenue and even donating their own merch to the table.
39만 8,790원이 나왔어요. 아니 어떻게 34만 500원보다 더 나온 거예요? 현장에서 팬들이 직접 굿즈를 기부하신 분들도 있었대요. 우리 방탄소년단이 전 세계에 미치는 큰 가치만큼 우리 아미분들의 행동 또한 정말 멋있다는 생각이 드는데요.
BTS donated $1 million to Black Lives Matter, and the ARMY was like, yo, if they can do it, we can do it. And they came, like, fans who were already coming out of the pocket to support artists came out of pocket more to support charity. And this isn't the first time they've done this.
Finally, ARMY not only cares and respects each other and BTS, they also care about the world. I did learn about that, yeah. BTS donated $1 million to Black Lives Matter, and ARMY matched their $1 million donation in 24 hours. But this type of actions happen all the time. ARMY is probably the first big fandom that made donating to charities and volunteering part of their mission.
They wanted to say thank you to me for something, and they organized something like charitable in my name. And part of me was like, why isn't everyone's fans doing this? Can you imagine if everyone's fans thanked them by organizing charity in their name?
ARMY has participated in thousands of charity projects around the world, including collecting trash, planting trees, donating food and clothes to shelters, and much, much more. When BTS had to cancel their entire Map of the Soul tour because of the COVID pandemic, many ARMYs donated the money of their ticket refunds to COVID relief efforts and organizations. When concerts returned, tickets for BTS concerts sold out fast. So some ARMYs who were not able to get tickets donated their ticket money to organizations helping Ukraine. Again, I'm not saying that ARMY doesn't have a toxic side. In a fandom this big, there will always be at least a small number of very loud toxic fans, but they are not the majority, not even close. There's this popular idea that the internet is full of these toxic ARMYs, but I dare you to actually click on their accounts and read what they are actually saying about BTS. I assure you, the toxic fans you come across are not actual ARMYs. They are troll accounts pretending to be ARMY just so people can hate on BTS and their fandom. Like I said, ARMYs are not K-pop stans. Actually, K-pop stans and other fandoms team up to compete against ARMY. This has happened since ARMY became the most powerful fandom in 2017, and as a consequence, BTS became the most successful group. So if we compare ARMY to other global fandoms of similar magnitudes, I would say that ARMY is the fandom that has done the most good. ARMY is the first big fandom who constantly rejects the crazy stereotype from the media and the general public. ARMY goes far and beyond to protect BTS's privacy and personal space, more than any other big fandom. ARMYs hold each other accountable and look for ways to improve the fandom at all times. ARMY cares about each other's safety and is generous to each other and the world. That's how ARMY changed fandom culture. Being the most powerful fandom is not just about having a lot of crazy fans anymore. It's about being part of a productive community. It's more than just repeating a positive slogan. This is why I think the toxic stereotype of ARMY should disappear, because it's extremely misleading.
The ARMY are great. Also, they're so poorly represented in culture as these like fangirl, crazy, like mindless, and they're the opposite. They're like intelligent, they're funny, they're tasteful, they're charitable.
There has never been a fandom community like this, and the world should see it for what it actually is.
Aww, that was so cute. Oh my gosh.
This is way more
I learned
with
so
small...
Can you stop? Okay. I learned so much. Wow, I'm actually shocked. Yeah, that is true. Obviously, I don't know like anything about BTS. Like I'm learning. And I'm glad you guys are here with me, I guess. I was a little intimidated at first. Because it is true. Like I've definitely heard a lot of like toxic fans about BTS, and I've actually was told not to even like react to it actually because of these fans, and just gonna be like aggro. There's a lot of really helpful people in the comments, but I definitely saw, you know, a good amount of hateful messaging too, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm just learning. Like I don't know. I'm not trying to offend anyone, but yeah, there were people like in the in some of my comments that were like a little aggro, that I wasn't expecting. But it is true, when you have such a big fandom, like when you have big numbers in anything, it's impossible, literally, like it's impossible not to have toxic fans or variables or outliers, right? But it's not the majority. But unfortunately, with how the world works, negative things have a bigger presence than positive things, so people tend to focus on the negatives, right? Which is just how everything works, right? I mean, it's unfortunate, but it is true. That's just how like life be. But I got to learn a lot. I think it's absolutely amazing. I have a big respect that you guys respect their privacy wholeheartedly, because that's something I've never ever liked. But I just felt like a lot of people tend to be like almost entitled to celebrities' like private life, or it's just like, oh, this is what they choose to by being rich and famous, therefore we're entitled to invade their privacy. That's what I've never ever liked, and I found that it's hard to deal with that, you know. But I don't know, I've noticed a lot of times, I guess, like netizens, like people of the internet, I would say that I've noticed tend to not respect that most of the time, on all types of people, not just like music or just celebrities in general. I mean, there's like a big narrative, I feel, where a lot of people don't tend to, I guess, respect their personal life, like as if they're like not human, like, you know, they're just like, they signed up for this, so therefore we're entitled to this. And I've never messed with that. Don't get me wrong, of course there's going to be parasocial, highly parasocial people, toxic people, obsessive people. I've definitely heard of like what is it, like invasion of privacy with BTS. I've heard it like once, like, you know, I remember I saw like one video a long time ago. Once again, could be completely out of context, like I don't know, like it's been so long. But these are like things that I've gathered, right? And it was like a very obsessive fan, like, etc. But obviously, when you have such a big numbers on anything, there's always going to be variables. Yeah, like she said, it's like, you know, respecting people's privacy is more common for smaller, medium-sized fandoms, right? But once it gets bigger, that's where mayhem tends to happen. So I love that. Like, I love that whole the purple ribbons thing in the airport. I think that's amazing. And then not even coming to the airport in general is also amazing, because a lot of people don't respect that either. And I'm just like, bruh, that's crazy. That's crazy. I really love that. I love that. Like, you know, respecting the celebrities' wishes, and actually listening. Like, actually listening. I think that's amazing. Yeah, so I also thought it was so cute, like the cleanup, like, oh, like I thought that I don't know what that is. Like, I felt like the trash can literally got me emotional. I'm getting emotional again. I don't know what it is. I just, like, I thought that was so, like, amazing, bro, because like, how sweet can people be? Like, and then the little freebies following right after that was like, oh my gosh, it's so sweet. Like, aw. And then, like, also learning about, like, there's little, like, accounts for people in school who can learn from each other for free, like like help in math and science and health and all this stuff. I'm like, that's so amazing. That's so cute. I kind of wish I, like, had something like that when I was a kid. I remember when I was in middle school, I read a lot of fan fictions. That's all I did. A lot of fan fictions about One Direction. Yes. It's so crazy. I know I'm mentioning One Direction because that's, like, the only thing I can use, like, as my form of comparison, but I'm very aware that they're not very similar. Like, it's totally different. Like, it's a totally different ball game. I'm very aware. It's just I wanted to show my journey. That's all it is. It's my, like, how that I at one point was really into like a fandom, not obsessively like that. Like I never actually went to a concert, or I couldn't afford it. Like I was broke as shit, bro. But well, my family was basically. And yeah, I eventually stopped, but I remember like I had a whole bunch of like pictures on my room of all the members and stuff, and then my dad got pissed. He was like, "Why do you have a bunch of men men in your room?" And then he just like tore down all the pictures, and I think like that slowly just like stopped my love for like the fandoms and stuff like that. So eventually I stopped. Like I'm over. I don't even listen to the songs anymore. But it's very interesting. I feel like that's also a reason why I haven't gone into like another fandom, because I know how into deep I can get. It's very nice though. But yeah, very interesting. Very interesting. I learned so much. It was so cute. So cute. I loved it so much. Yeah, and I can't wait to watch another video. This was such a cute video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. Drop a like if you want me to continue these videos. And yeah, bye bye. I'll see you when I see ya.